Hi, you guys. Happy Friday. I just have a real quick video I wanted to do for you today. We are on practicing breathing through the breathing space, and this is the 3-step breathing space this week. So you practiced a really abbreviated version, just a very short breathing space in the beginning of this course, and now just taking it a step further. It doesn't necessarily have to be longer as far as time goes. It's just adding a couple concepts to it. So just wanted to talk a little bit about it because this is one of my personal favorite tools of mindfulness. When I took my first MBSR, the mindfulness-based stress reduction class, this was what really stuck for me afterward. You know, you take classes and some concepts are still kind of vague and kind of floating. This one for me was just so usable. It's probably because there's an image attached to it with the hourglass, which you can find on the next page. But what I want to do actually is I've drawn it up on the board, and I wanted to just add a few things to it. Yes, this is my lovely picture of an hourglass. I tried so hard to make the two sides come together in an even way, and as you can see, I have a dancing hourglass, so whatever, it serves the purpose. Anyhow, I added my own illustrations, and I'm going to explain those, and I added a few words as well. There is a picture of this in your book. It is on page 102, and if you're kind of a visual person like me, having that picture really helps. If the hourglass isn't doing it for you, try something else. You know, be creative, use your own imagination, but link a visual with this process for yourself. It's been really, really helpful for me. And here's how I find myself using the hourglass. So, as the author of our book discussed, this is a technique that you'll want to practice when you're feeling okay, when you're doing well, and practice it on a regular basis if you can, every day. And then it will be more accessible to you to practice it in times of stress because you'll be used to using it. And your mind and your body will kind of naturally go to this dropping in. So this is where I've added a few words and just some thoughts, and I wanted to share. As you can see above the hourglass, I have my squiggles, and that's really just kind of what my mind does. That's how I visualize it. It spirals. It tends to kind of go everywhere, especially when I'm just kind of stressed, out of my mindfulness practice, maybe have a full plate, and then, you know, something else gets added, whether it's kid related or otherwise, and you end up with, you know, your mind and body and everything just kind of feeling like this. You're all over the place. And then the hourglass starts, and in your book, it refers to it as awareness, and it is awareness, but for me, the word recognition is more, that's what happens. So I can't even drop into this space here from up here unless I recognize. And I understand becoming aware is sort of another word for that, but for me, it's that recognition point. So I'm just offering you some different words that you could link with this, and hopefully inviting you to come up with your own as well, to start kind of noticing how you feel in this process and what words ring true for you. And once I've recognized that I'm up here, that I'm all over the place, then I can drop in and begin becoming aware. So dropping into the body is a term that I first heard through yoga, and just allowing the mind to drop into the body and the experience and what's happening right now. And that's what the top part of that hourglass is. So you can spend anywhere from, you can spend as long as you want in each stage, but it can be as short as a few seconds, depending on what you need at the time, how much stress you've been in. So you're dropping into your body, and then when you're ready, you're zeroing in, you're focusing in on just the breath. So that little just breathe, and you're just right there with your breath. your attention is fully with your breath and the sensations that the breath causes in the body that you can pay attention to. And during this phase is when I begin feeling a sense of peace. I might not be totally content. I kind of stay away from using that word because I might still be upset about whatever situation it was that had me up here. But I can still find that sense of inner peace when I'm on that middle part of just being with the breath. And it's sort of like calming the water. So you come from the hurricane to calmer water. And then when you're ready to, again, in your own time, I don't time this when I do it on my own. It's just whatever you need, however long you need to be there in each one of these spaces. So the third part then is expanding this sense of peace, what we can find right there as we hone in to the sense of the breath, and then widen that out to your whole being. And notice I say your whole being. It's more than just your body. It's your whole being, body, mind, and spirit, and even beyond. We haven't done the loving kindness meditation yet. That is to come. And that will take this sense of peace that we can create and send it out into the world through a meditation. But you can do that with this as well. See how wide you can expand that sense of peace to your whole being and even beyond your being, beyond you. And now we're at calmer waters. And that's my little illustration along the bottom. It's a much better place to make a decision from, to move forward from, than being up there. So you can use this tool anytime you're stressed. But I echo what the author says in practicing it regularly. I'd love to see people practicing this daily. And not in times of chaos or stress necessarily, just on a regular basis. And then it begins to become habit. And you can tap into this technique when you're in times of stress. And maybe you're not thinking very straight. You're able to access this a little bit easier. If you're out of practice with it, it's a lot harder. And you can always go back to the audio. So I did provide a link for the audio to have this 3-step breathing practice read to you so that you don't have to think too much or read as you try to experience. And continue to use that audio as long as you need. And then there might come a time where you need to come back to using it again. But once you get the hang of it, you will be able to use this technique without any extra tools. You'll have the visual in your mind and you'll know the steps. All right. Well, you guys have a great weekend. Let me know how your 3-step breathing spaces are going. This is one that even if you haven't been real regular in practicing the other techniques in this course, this is one that anybody can use at any time. So feel free, even if you haven't chimed in on the previous modules, to let me know how this one goes for you. It's pretty brief, and I know everybody can find time for it. Okay, have a good weekend, you guys. I will see you or post to you again on Monday with next week's content. Take care.